Good morning, everyone, and a really warm welcome to everyone who is joining us today for our live Parents, Carers and Supporters session. So we will be with you for the next hour to chat through how best to support your child or dependent as they prepare for their arrival here at Glasgow. Our lovely panel will be covering topics such as accommodation, security, and the support available that we have here at the university. If you are watching this live, you can also ask us questions through the text chat, and colleagues behind the scenes will do their best to answer those questions for you. This session today is part of our online Offer Holders Day, so please make sure that you're checking out the rest of today's sessions. Those are from admissions through to accommodation as well. So firstly, just to quickly introduce myself, my name is Alice. I work in external relations here at the University of Glasgow, and I'm joined here today with a lovely panel, and I'll let them introduce themselves. So Ellie, would you like to introduce yourself first?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Ellie. I'm the Student Support Officer based in the School of Psychology and Nursing, and I'll be sharing a little bit about what the SSO, the Student Support Officer role, is about.
Perfect. Thank you, Ellie. Ellen, I'm going to come to you next.
Hi, I'm Ellen Thompson, and I work in Accommodation Services. I'm the Marketing and Customer Services Manager. Work closely with the allocations team and the site teams.
Perfect. Thank you, Ellen. Gary, would you like to introduce yourself next?
Yeah, good morning. My name is Gary Stephen. I head of security and I run the security team here at the University of Glasgow. And manage the safety and security of all staff, students and visitors.
Perfect, thank you, Gary. And last but not least, Amy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Amy. I'm a Student Life Manager, and I manage the Residence Life teams that work out in the halls of residence and also our Student Listeners service.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. So I've got a couple of questions for you all today. Ellen, I'm going to come to you first with the first question. So for those who don't currently live in Glasgow, securing accommodation can really feel like a daunting task for students, particularly those with kids who are moving away from home for the first time. Ellen, would you be able to talk us through, firstly, how the application process works, and also talk us through some of the main accommodation options available for our undergraduate students?
Of course, be delighted to. So if we can make it slightly less daunting from the get-go, to say that if you're a first-year undergraduate, you are guaranteed an offer of accommodation, providing you apply by the deadline. So that's hopefully reassuring to get started. You're guaranteed an offer of accommodation. So in terms of the process, the first thing your young person needs to do is firmly accept their offer of study. Now that can be a conditional or an unconditional offer. And once they've firmly accepted that, that will then give them access to the accommodation portal. And if I could have slide 1, please. Thank you. So first step is registration. Now, once you accept your offer, it can take a couple of days for your details to import over from the database into our database. So if you try and register and you get a message to say student not recognised, just keep trying over the next couple of days and your details will appear. Really important there, when you're registering, keep a note of the username and password, because you require that when you log back into the system to accept an offer of accommodation and also to manage the stay with us. And also when you register, please use an email address that you will have access to later on in the summer, because it remembers that. And if you've used a school email address, you won't be able to access the portal. So when you're applying for accommodation as an undergraduate, you will choose 6 options. Now, that doesn't need to be 6 different residences, because within one of our residences, for example, Cairncross House, there's the option there of a twin room, a single room, or a large single room. So that could be 3 of your 6 options if you really liked the option for Cairncross House. And if you check out our webpage, and the address will be popping up on the bottom of the screen, you can see the residence profiles, find out a bit about each of the residences. Question we are always asked is, where are they, the location there? So you can see main campus is in the middle there. The majority of the residences denoted there by the wee red and blue house symbols are about between 0 and 25 minutes walk of main campus. And we also have a location out at Garscube. The deadlines, I should mention the deadline to be guaranteed that offer. You need to submit your application by the 14th of July. and meet your conditions of study if you're a conditional offer holder by the 25th of August. If you meet those, you're guaranteed an offer of accommodation. Your offer of accommodation will also have a deadline on it. So if you're away travelling or going to be away, make sure you're keeping an eye on your email. That's where the offer will come through to you. That will have a deadline for you to accept that or reject, should you choose. You can see there the weekly rates for various accommodation. That's just the sample. You'll see the full details on the webpage. The contract length for undergraduate accommodation is 39 weeks. That's September through to June. And also, it's a wee bit of an urban myth that you have to clear your room at Christmas and Easter time. You don't need to do that. The room is yours for the duration of the contract. What else to tell you? Location. Most of these are self-catering residences. The exception to that is Wolfson Hall, which you can't really see it on the map, don't be a bit small there, but it's somebody asked me once, does the paw print symbolise I can bring my dog? Sadly not. It's to symbolise the vet school campus out at Garscube Estate. So that's our catered residence where your meals are included in your accommodation fees. If you're not a confident young person's not a confident cook, an option that we're introducing in September is meal plans. Now that's the option to basically purchase up a breakfast and dinner package that will be served Monday to Friday in the James McCoon Smith building. So at the moment on our webpage, you can sign up to be notified for more information about that and register your interest. Something else we would advise once they've applied for accommodation, if you're a young person also, again on our webpage, you can sign up to our applicant newsletter. And that will send you a bulletin roughly on one a month. We've just sent the first one, April one's just gone out, so May, June, July, and then August. And that's where we start to introduce sort of more content about the city, how great it is to live there. There's all sorts of things. That's our UofG living site is where our, again, the link is at the bottom of the screen, where we house lots of content about how great it is to live in Glasgow, all the things there are to do, etc., etc. So I would certainly recommend that they do that too. And I think I've covered how it works and where they are.
Perfect. Thank you, Ellen. It's brilliant to hear. Definitely, there's lots of options for students and also, most importantly, those deadlines, which are really important at this time of year as you're considering arriving in Glasgow. So just following on from this question, Amy, you're part of the Residence Life team. So I was wondering if you would like to tell the viewers a little bit more about how your team can help new students to settle into the residences, as well as how you support students through their time in university accommodation as well.
Yeah, very happy to. If you could just pop up the slides, that would be great. Thank you. Yeah, so you'll meet the Residence Life team on arrivals weekend. We work really closely with the accommodation team. So the central team, Ellen and her colleagues, and also the teams that work out in the actual sites. So one of the things that we really encourage students to do is attend the mandatory welcome talks. So all students will be notified, all students in the halls of residence will be notified when the welcome talk is going to be. So we really encourage all students to attend that. And in that kind of space, that's where you're going to find out all of the kind of key information you need. So all of your important contacts, whether that's for practical reasons, for welfare reasons, or for kind of emergency reasons. That's where you're going to find out about all the events that are going to be on site. You find out practical things like how to use the laundry, cleaning rotas, what expectations there are of you, how to do the recycling. If you've got a bike, if you've got a car, you'll find out, how to store those items. We do a lot of focus on fire safety in the welcome talks as well. So you get an understanding of our policies and procedures and how we want to keep all the students safe and well through their time with us. We talk a bit about the kind of broader university services that students can tap into. It's a really, really important that students attend the welcome talk. So I would encourage all to do that, and they'll get a really comprehensive understanding of life in halls essentially. So for the first week, we kick off our kind of events program with our welcome events. So there'll be walk-in tours of the local community. So you get to know all your wee local coffee shops, get to know where to do your shopping. We do a walk from your halls of residence to the university, so you can figure out the best route to get to university. We do kind of flatmate, get to know your flatmate, kind of speed friending events. So lots of opportunities to get to know the students that you're going to be getting to know over the year. So yeah, again, you find out all about that at the welcome talk as well. And as Ellen just mentioned, we also work with Accommodation to promote all of the Res Life events through the UofG Living pages as well. So yeah, if you could move to the next slide, that would be great. So in terms of welfare and well-being, there's always somebody on hand for students out of hours. So during the day, in the evenings and the weekends, and overnight, there's always going to be somebody that students can access. So we all work really closely together across the security, accommodation and Res Life teams. And again, when the students come along to the welcome talk, that's when they get all those kind of key numbers, so they know what time of day it is, what's the kind of need that I have, and therefore who is the best person to get in contact with. So we make sure that we've got staff available for students at any time, just in case we're needed. We also work really closely with our university core services as well. So in terms of the wellbeing teams, so anything that maybe happens in halls of residence where student needs support, we can refer students into the wider university wellbeing services as well. We also have events that focus on kind of well-being and inclusivity. We're really aware that the success, I guess, and the happiness of students in halls is very much connected to them feeling connected to their community, getting to know people, making friends, feeling comfortable, and getting to know staff is obviously really key. Everyone's very welcoming, very friendly, so there's always somebody that they can chat to if needed. And we try and cater the events to recognise the different personality types of students as well, whether they want to be in a big, busy kind of environment, or maybe they prefer some kind of smaller events. So there's a big focus for us on helping students settle in and build community as well. And if we move to the next slide, I think I can tell you a wee bit more about some of the events. So this is just a few photos from some of the events that we've had in the past. So very into Eurovision parties in some of the halls, and celebrating world events as well. So different type. We really want to kind of create a really kind of multicultural experience for students and celebrate the different backgrounds that students come from. So we kind of celebrate all of the different world celebrations that happen. We have craft events, we have walking tours, quizzes and games nights, various different kind of summer outdoor activities. So yeah, it's very broad ranging. And what we really invite from students is their input in that as well. So we're really going to be inviting students to get involved in volunteering in events, in shaping events, and letting us know what it is that they want to see in their halls of residence.
Perfect. Thank you, Amy. It's really nice to have kind of the support side in terms of doing things like laundry and those kind of practical tasks when you first leave home. But it's only a couple of weeks to Eurovision, so maybe a couple more pictures will come through for the update in 2025. So thank you very much, Amy. So we've just chatted through support and accommodation, which really leads nicely onto the support available at the university itself. Ellie, you're part of the team that provides subject area support to our students throughout their time at university. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
Yes, very happy to. If I can have the slides, that's perfect. Thank you. So the student support officers are embedded within each academic school at the university. So we provide frontline support to students, whether they need help with academic matters or personal issues, or just navigating university life. So we offer both online and in-person support, making it accessible to students. By being based within schools, we gain a deeper understanding of the local needs, but we're also well connected with the central services, so we can ensure consistency with the support that we provide. We help students address short-term issues and challenges and guide them to services such as their advisor of studies, the counselling and wellbeing service, disability services, the SLD, the student learning development, and more. So our aim is to ensure that the students are having an enjoyable experience and succeeding whilst they're at the university. And if we can have the next slide, please. Lovely, thank you. So who do the student support officers work with? So we don't work alone, we collaborate a lot with different teams across the university. So we're making sure the students receive well-rounded, holistic support. We work closely with academic and administrative staff, including the advisor of studies that I mentioned earlier, to ensure the students are receiving the right academic support when they need it. We also work with accommodation support and the residence life team, and supporting the students that live on campus. And also with more maybe specialist services like the Counselling and Wellbeing Service, the Disability Service, SLD, International Student Support, and the Student Finance team. So this wide collaboration ensures that every student has access to a full range of services, whether it's academic, personal, or financial. Thank you. So when might a student want to approach us? There are many scenarios and situations when a student might want to approach the student support officer. Some examples here is if they're feeling maybe isolated, homesick, or unwell, we can listen and offer advice and direct them to the appropriate resources. If a student maybe is dealing with illness or needs to take an extended leave from their studies, we can help manage their academic responsibilities and connect them again to the appropriate support. When students are unsure how to approach academic staff, or need help with things like, again, absence to leave, we can guide them through that process. Also, anything to do with maybe personal difficulties like care responsibilities, or maybe maternity or paternity needs, any family kind of challenges, we can offer support and again connect them to the additional services. So yeah, we kind of want to ensure the students don't feel that any issue is too big or too small to approach us, and we can support them in any way we can. Thank you. Just a couple of other things that we offer support with, other than this kind of more specific issues that I just mentioned there. We kind of provide a comprehensive support across a variety of areas and just throughout the student experience. So things like health concerns, the mental well-being, general academic life challenges, to kind of help ensure that there's maybe a balanced experience throughout the university. We also connect students with both university but also external services, and financial aid through the university mental health services or career development as well. Sometimes students just need somebody to talk to, or guidance to navigate through the complexities sometimes that come with being at the university, and SSOs are there to listen and offer that advice. Our aim is to help students make sense of the different types of support that is available to them and making it easy for them to access it quickly. And that's it from me. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ellie. I think it's really nice to hear about those support options. It's always a big change for students when they're coming away from home, maybe for the first time, and arriving maybe in a new city that they're unsure of, that we kind of have a collaborative approach to make sure that we can best support all of our students as they go through that student journey. So really fantastic to hear. Amy, you're also part of a student support team at the university. Can you tell us a little bit more about the student listening service?
Yeah, absolutely. So the student listeners are fellow students that are trained to provide a kind of safe and confidential space for other students to share their worries and concerns. So we recognise the complement that kind of peer-to-peer support can have to our core wellbeing services. So the student listeners are really kind of focused. It's a very much a kind of early intervention type of service where students might be feeling a bit worried about exams, a wee bit of anxiety. They've maybe just got they're settling into life in uni, they're feeling a little bit homesick. So it's a great opportunity. You might not feel that you need to speak to a counsellor or a staff member necessarily, but you just want to share with somebody who's walked in your shoes, who's kind of been there, but they're a wee bit further along the path. So our student listeners are an amazing team. They're trained up by our counselling team. They do a really comprehensive 9-week training programme, and they're supported ongoing throughout their journey as volunteers by the counselling team. And there's lots of ways to interact with them. They could book a session online through our online portal, or the student listeners work in collaboration with other student teams across the uni, so they could meet them at events. They also host drop-ins, and they do other kind of like arts and crafts type events as well, where students might just want to maybe feeling a wee bit homesick or a wee bit low, and they could come along to one of the events, do some crafting and chat with the student listeners, but in the knowledge that these listeners have been trained with brilliant skills in listening and just holding space and not trying to fix or advise or change, but just giving a really welcoming, safe space for them to share how they're feeling. They can book a session, come along and meet the students at one of the events. They could also train as a student listener as well. So all of that information is on our website. There's lots of kind of portfolios of the listeners themselves, and there's information about using the service, and there's information about training in the service. But we really welcome anyone that might be in. We often find actually that students from across the whole university are really keen to train, but often we see students coming from the more like the psychology types of subjects, or the kind of subjects where the medics, the vets, there might be that element of you're working with clients, you're working supporting people in some kind of helping profession, that they really find that it adds a lot in terms of their academic and their kind of relational skills as well. So they can just email us and we can have a chat with them if anyone's interested.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Amy. And I think it's like a great, obviously the support that we have available, but it's really nice to be able to speak to, as you said, a student who has been through that experience before. And it really adds kind of that you're not alone, and everyone has kind of gone through that experience. So it's really nice that we've got that support there from our student listeners. I'd just quickly like to add, in top of the great support detailed by both Ellie and Amy, there are also lots of other areas of student support on offer, such as the International Student Support Team. We have our Disability Service and Counselling Team, as well as our Student Learning Development and Careers Service. So also within each subject area, there's a dedicated advisor of studies who can help support our students as they transition into university life. And we do have our Fraser building on main campus. It's very easy to spot. It's a green and blue facade on our main campus, our Fraser building. And that's where you'll find the Student Services Inquiry Team, who can help with a range of inquiries on arrival at the university. Furthermore, we also have a fully trained peer wellbeing support team who are always around to listen and to provide support. So hopefully from today, you can take away that there are so many support channels available to students for when they need them. And it's something that we recommend. If you need any support during your time at university, please reach out. There's never any kind of reason not to reach out. So they're all there for you to use. So for those who are joining us, who are supporting a young person who are leaving home for the first time, it's obviously completely natural that safety is a top concern. Gary, I'm going to come to you for this one. So as the university's head of security, could you share some insights into the measures in place that can help ensure our campus remains safe and a secure environment for our students?
My pleasure. So first of all, I'd like to identify the fact that Glasgow is a really safe city. It's been statistically shown that we're a lot safer than some of the other big cities like London, Birmingham, Manchester and Liverpool. And there's the tagline for the city of Glasgow is "People make Glasgow." And that's true. We've also been voted the friendliest city as well. So could you take me to the first slide, please? Apart from the fact that we are a very safe city, we do have a 24-hour, 365-day security provision on not just this campus, but also the campus at Garscube as well. And that's the setup of my team. We've got 5 teams. We have 2 duty managers on each team and 9 officers. So in total, we've got 55 officers working on the ground with supported by 2 operations manager and myself at the top there. Now, can you go to the next slide, please? So what do we actually do? With the team, in my time in the last 8.5 years, has evolved from a traditional old-fashioned locking doors provision, wearing peak caps down over their eyes, not talking to anyone and being quite old and grumpy, into a 21st century award-winning safeguarding team. We're not the safeguarding team, just for clarity, we have a safeguarding team, but we support that safeguarding team. But a lot of the work we do is safeguarding students. And the student experience is at the heart of everything we do. So we changed the culture to a positive one. And by doing that, we invested a lot of money in specialist training for the staff that you wouldn't get from a contract security company, or indeed from some of the security teams at other universities. So you can see there's a list. Not everyone's going to know what all these training courses are about, but there's ones that are self-explanatory. The Gender-Based Violence First Responder, the Susie Lampu Safety Trust, Mental Health First Aid, and of course the Women in Security. We've made the makeup of the team now represents the diverse community that we serve. We've been a lot younger, BME, and also with lots more women in managerial spaces. I've got 3 female duty managers, which is a complete change from when I first took over. Can you go to the next slide, please? Our aims. So these are not just sound bites. This took a long time to put together to make sure that we were delivering what was required by the student community and the staff that work at the university. We done a few surveys when we first took over, and we looked at what are people concerned about, what are they actually scared about. So our aims are to reduce crime, the opportunities for crime and fear of crime, and deliver an environment in which students and staff can work, study and live safely. We provide an excellent gender-based team of highly skilled, empowered security professionals who are trained in compliance with British standards, who are fully integrated and who operate a fit-for-purpose security systems. So we develop and invest in our people, growing skills and competencies through a comprehensive training program. Every person that starts is on a 6-month probation. They have to complete all their training, and they have to make sure they do the bespoke subjects relating to crime and counter-terrorism. And we streamlined, simplified and refined our policies and processes to achieve maximum effectiveness and efficiency. Next slide, please. So the main crux of my team, we are the custodians of the campus out with normal hours. You've heard already the amount of support students have got, the good work that all our colleagues are doing from different areas and different departments. After 5 o'clock, my team are the custodians of the campus. Okay, we are it because you can't get hold of us. Amy's team obviously work a lot later. The accommodation team, we've got 2 people to work later. But as a general rule, most people finish at 5 o'clock. And our role has matured into more of a first responder for a safeguarding role, who work closely with the newly formed safeguarding team. This team, along with the Health Assured products, which is the Health Assured is our support mechanism, which we got counsellors on 24/7 call. Maybe people might be homesick or stuff like that. They want to speak to someone at 2 o'clock in the morning. If they don't want to speak to my team in person, then we've got the Health Assured products that they can just ring the number, and you can get via the Health Assured products via Safe Zone, which I'll come to on a further slide. Okay, you can press that button and speak to a fully trained counsellor at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's not a provision the university used to have, but it's one we've got now. So the university gives more holistic and robust response to dealing with students who are mentally unwell. And that mentally unwell can be homesick, it can be any of the above. Okay, can we move to the next slide, please? So what does good look like? The reason I put this slide on there is to make people aware that we're not just talking the talk, we're actually doing the walk as well. We've put all these things in place. And as a result of the things we put in place, we've won the Security and Fire Excellence Manager of the Year, which is like the Oscars and the OSPAs. Sorry about the buzzing bells. Someone's ringing the bell very loudly in the corridor outside. We've got the Safe Zone, which I'll come to in a second, Most Collaborative Award in 2021. We've got these, as you can see there, Security Director 2023, Best Use of Safe Zone. Again, Safe Zone I mentioned, it's a very important tool for us, and I'll come to that next. The State's University Director of State's Award in 2023 the OXO, which is my peer group, Association of University Chief Security Officer Award for the team in 2024. Multiple awards because of the way we've changed the way we work and do that. Can we go to the next slide, please? Safe Zone. Safe Zone is the biggest change that my team have had. This app is a safety and security app that allows students and staff, not just on campus, not just in accommodation, not just in a library when they're studying, but everywhere around the world, being able to press the red button if they decide they need help and they want support immediately. They press the red button, and what happens, fortunately it's not gone off because you'd hear it going off there in the front office there. It makes a very loud noise, and my duty managers stop what they're doing and they go to the geo map, and we can see where anyone is across the world, and we can contact. Also, if they're pressing the red button, it gives them the option to call 999 instead of calling the security team. So if they're after 999 for immediate response, wherever they are in Glasgow, wherever they are in Edinburgh, UK, globally, they press that red button, and if they need the police or the emergency services, it'll go through to the local police in that country or the local emergency services in that country. It's also got a first aid button. If they see a first aid incident, it's exactly the same premise. You press the green button, the alarm goes off, my staff see where you are, the staff on the ground start making their way to you, my staff, the duty manager in the control room, starts ringing you to reassure you that help's on their way and finding out what the issue is. You can also see on the graphic there, the wellbeing assistance button. This is what we talk about, health assured. If people just want to speak to someone at 2 o'clock in the morning because they are homesick, they can press that button and get taken through to a counsellor any day, any time of the day or night, where they speak to them and have trained professionals to be able to speak to them at that time. I could talk to you about Safe Zone for hours and hours, but I won't. It is a revelation for us when we took Safe Zone on. It allows anybody who needs help to press that button and immediately get help wherever they are. So I could go on, but I'll stop there, Alice.
Thank you very much, Gary. And it's really great to hear about all of the kind of everything that your security team does at the university. And I know for myself and probably the other members of the panel that we all have Safe Zone downloaded onto our phones as well. And I've not yet had to use it, which is very nice, but it does make me feel a lot more comfortable and secure knowing that it's there for if I ever require it as well. So thank you very much, Gary. So I'll just move on to the next question. So for many of our new students, and indeed for many of the parents who are tuning in today, this will maybe be your first time in Glasgow, the city of Glasgow, and you might be looking to find out a little bit more about the city that your young person will be calling home during their time of studies. So I'm going to give the panel a little break. I'm going to take this question. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes just to tell you a little bit more about Glasgow. So firstly, we are Scotland's largest city, which makes us the 4th largest city in the UK. So when you come to Glasgow, you get a really nice experience, a really kind of metropolitan experience. But the nice thing is it's a city, but also it's very easy to get out and enjoy the outdoors as well. So it's only about 40 minutes to Loch Lomond, which is one of our largest lakes here in Scotland, where you can do activities like water sports, or it's very easy to go on hill walking climbs as well. So you're in the city, but it's also very easy to go and experience the outdoors when you're here. As Gary previously mentioned as well, we are a very friendly city, and it's not just us saying it. We have consistently been voted the world's friendliest city, which is really nice, and it can be a little bit unusual for a large city to be so friendly. So it's a very warm welcome that you'd get in the city of Glasgow as well as the University of Glasgow. So if you ever need any help out with when you're out and about in the city of Glasgow, if you stop and ask someone for help, they will help you as well. So it's a very nice place to come and a very kind of warm place for students when they're coming here. So Glasgow is actually a very green city as well, which is a nice thing for a city, especially as we've heard about accommodation, for example. So you might often get kind of a small shared garden, but we do have a lot of larger outdoor green spaces. So actually the Scottish Gaelic for Glasgow is roughly translated to Dear Green Place, which I just think sounds very beautiful. And that's because we have over 90 parks and gardens throughout the city. So right next to the campus, if you've been to our campus before, but if you've also not, you'll notice that there is a large park, and that is the Kelvin Grove Park that we have here in the city of Glasgow. So that's one of the larger parks. And on the sunny days that we get here in Glasgow, I promise there is some sun. We have had a very nice run of nice weather recently. You'll find a lot of students sitting out in Kelvin Grove Park, basking in the sunshine and maybe grabbing a picnic as well. And the Botanic Gardens is another one of our parks and gardens, which is only a 5-minute walk from the university. So you are surrounded by parks and gardens at the university, but also further afield throughout the city as well. In Kelvin Grove Park, actually, we do have the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery and Museum. And this isn't part of the university, but we do have a lot of art galleries and museums throughout the city of Glasgow, most of which are free to use. So it's very nice that you can kind of go in and out and see different collections as you would like for no additional cost. And it's a truly beautiful building that the Kelvin Grove is housed in as well. So lots to do around the kind of culture side of the city as well. One of my favourite things about Glasgow is that it is a UNESCO City of Music. So what you find in Glasgow is a lot of live music, which is fantastic. So you're never stuck for going out to see some live music acts. So for example, it can be kind of traditional music. So trad sessions might happen throughout some of the cafes and pubs in Glasgow, for example. But there's also up and coming bands through venues like King Tut's and the Barrowlands. And then we also have our Hydro, which is kind of our main kind of arena here in Glasgow. And a lot of the larger touring acts will come through the Hydro. So we have had Ed Sheeran there, for example, Shania Twain as well. So a lot of those large global acts who are touring the world will stop in Glasgow as well. So it's a really nice place to kind of experience some extra music as well. So as well as the University of Glasgow, there are a lot of other universities and colleges in the city of Glasgow. This makes it a really nice place for students who are coming to the university. So it's a very student-focused city, Glasgow. And what I always tell students is their student card, which they will get once they enrol for their classes, is going to be their best friend. So because we've got such a large student population in the city of Glasgow, a lot of those cafes and shops might give a discount. So that is a really nice part of being a student. And I do miss those days of getting those student discounts. So it might be a 10% discount or a 20% discount, but that's a really good way to save money and kind of figure out ways to kind of make sure that your money lasts you as long as possible by making those savings as well. There's lots of sports venues throughout the city as well. So we actually hosted the Commonwealth Games back in 2014, but we have been announced to host them again in 2026, which is really fantastic. So that'll be a really vibrant time for the city when we're hosting those games. But what that also means is we have a lot of sports venues throughout the city. So we have a velodrome, for example. You'll find lots of gyms. There's lots of clubs to join out with, just the university sports clubs throughout the city in terms of rugby and football and all of those kind of sports as well. One of the best things and what we get asked about a lot, especially when you're coming to a new city, is how easy is it to get around the city? So our campus, so behind me, you can see our main campus, which is our Gilmore Hill campus. And this is based in the West End of Glasgow. So you get a really nice campus life, but then you're straight into the West End of Glasgow, which is a really nice area in Glasgow and a really safe area as well. So you're straight into kind of cafes, there's a cinema nearby, there's shops, there's lots to do in terms of the West End. But it's also very easy to get around to the wider city. So right next to campus, we have our subway system. I always like to tell students, don't worry too much. It is one of the oldest subway systems in the world, but we have recently had new trains in it. But the great thing is we only have 2 lines, which all go to the same stops. So if you accidentally get on the wrong line, you will end up at the same place. So don't worry, it's very hard to get lost on our subway system in comparison to some of the larger systems throughout Europe. So what I would say, it's only 8 minutes on the subway to the city centre, where one of the main shopping streets is in Glasgow, so Buchanan Street and also Argyle Street. And that's where all of our main train stations are as well. So we have our Queen Street station and our central station for trains. And for example, it's only 45 minutes by train through to Edinburgh, which is our capital city here in Scotland. But we are also connected by train to London. So there is a direct train down to London, which is about 4.5 hours. So it's very easy to get around both the city of Glasgow, but also get out and experience the rest of Scotland and the UK. We do have an airport here in Glasgow as well. So we have an international airport, so very easy to get to if you are coming from a little bit further afield. So lots to do in terms of that. And the last thing I'll mention around transport, I seem to love transport all of a sudden, is that if you are under the age of 22 in Scotland, then you are eligible to get free transport on buses, for example. So there's a very good bus network throughout Glasgow, but that would enable you to also use the buses to go to Edinburgh, for example, or if you want to experience the Highlands. So Glasgow is very well connected, both within the city and on the wider scale as well. So hopefully that gave you a little bit more of an idea about Glasgow. And finally, I'm going to go to our last question of the session for those of you tuning in today. So for parents and those supporting a young person, I'm going to come round to each of the panels. So what are your top tips for making the transition to university life as smooth as possible? Ellie, I'm going to come to you first for your top tips.
Thank you. I would say that one of the best ways to help a student transition smoothly into university life is to encourage them to have open communication. So let them know that it's okay to ask for help whenever they need it. Reassure them that the support services like the student support officers and the other services and teams that we've mentioned today are there to guide them through any challenges they face.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Ellie. Ellen, I'm going to come to you next. What are your top tips for students?
Okay, well, this is a top tip for parents, actually, the first one. If you're coming to university accommodation and you bring your young person up at move-in weekend, which this year will be from the 12th of September, Friday the 12th of September, if you bring them and you live close enough to go back home again, we advise that you don't do that. We advise that you bring them, move them in, and difficult as it will be for you, but leave them, because getting to know their flatmates at that early stage, the very early, the first days and evenings while they get to orientate themselves around the site and things is really, really important. I have a second top tip as well, also with regard to flat life and getting on in residencies, is to encourage them, if they're not a keen cook already, at least to try and learn a couple of key recipes before they move out of home. So if you can rustle up a pot of soup or a pasta dish or something, for one, it's better for your health, it's better for budgeting, and it can also make you very popular with your new flatmates too, if you can cook the best chili in the flat. And final, because I am Glaswegian born and bred, be prepared for 4 seasons. Yes, be prepared for any weather condition, and layers are the answer. So that's my top tips.
Thank you, Ellen. Yes, layers are definitely key here in Glasgow, and brilliant to hear about getting some recipes as well. I remember my time at university, we did a kind of come dine with me, which kind of helped you get to know each other, but also it meant that you didn't have to cook every night, which was very nice. Gary, I'm going to come to you next. What are your top tips?
Well, you've obviously seen I'm a very big fan of SafeZone, the security safety app. Download the app, okay, which means you're never, ever alone wherever you are. So if you need help for anything, there's an inquiry button on there. Now, when I do presentations for the SafeZone, I turn around and say, you can press that inquiry button if you're lost, you're looking for a lecture theatre or anything like that. I also say you can press it at 2 o'clock in the morning and ask the security team when the nearest kebab shop or pizza places, and my team will know the answer to that question at 2 o'clock in the morning because they work nights. So that's a useful tip for people wanting to get a kebab at 2 o'clock in the morning. But it's also a tip that will keep you safe if you need any kind of support at any time, day or night.
Perfect. Thank you, Gary. And Amy, I'm going to come to you finally for your top tips as well.
Yeah, I would definitely say if you're going to be moving out of home or living in shared accommodation for the first time, being open-minded, curious about your flatmates and the differences, and tolerant. So yeah, I guess trying to see it as a little bit of an adventure. It's going to be new, it's going to be different. You're going to be meeting folks from all kind of different nationalities, different backgrounds, different cultures, and to see that as a kind of interesting, exciting thing to explore. And also to, I think, to have the confidence to talk to your flatmates early on if there's something that's kind of bugging you in some way, or the music's a wee bit loud, or whatever it might be. Really to kind of like have that confidence to see that as a way of building those relationships with your flatmates, just to share what you kind of maybe need and to catch things early. Yeah, and to communicate in a kind of very open way so that you can try and have the best relationships that you can with your flatmates. And if you're struggling in any way and you're not sure how to do that, because that whole communication bit is a skill in itself, learning how to do that and learning how to navigate difference, navigate conflict, then the Res Life team are there, and the accommodation team, you can speak to them as well, and they'll link you up with us, or security will link you up with us. So just let somebody know that you're maybe struggling a wee bit. And the Res Life team can help you figure out how you have those conversations with your flatmates, and yeah, just support you with any kind of issues. We just really want people to tell us early on if there's anything that they're struggling with, and the sooner we know, the sooner we can kind of help you to sort things out as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Amy. And yeah, open lines of communication is always key, especially when you're not used to maybe living with other people and flatmates, and that can take a little bit of getting used to, but having those open lines of communication helps. Absolutely. So with those final top tips, which were all brilliant, and they kind of covered a lot of areas as well, which was really good, that brings us to the end of today's live Q&A. If you are joining us live as well, we will be answering questions up until 10 a.m. So you can continue to submit your questions. So I just wanted to say a huge thanks to our panel, and we really hope that those who have tuned in with us today have found this a useful session, just to make sure that you're feeling more comfortable about the students coming to the University of Glasgow and the support that we have available here. So for further information, you can visit our parents' web pages, where you'll find useful links and some further video content for parents as well. And for those of you who are watching live, this session is part of our online offer holders day. So please make sure you're checking out the rest of the schedule for today, because there's lots going on, and those are on our web pages. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in again, and bye for now, and hopefully see you soon.